Hey, welcome to New Jump City, everybody, where we recap the week in American and Japanese sequential art. I am your host, Christian, the unbiased king, Espinal. And joining me through Discord, it is the man, the myth, the legend, the tank top sage. It's Joshua Gangsta Time Cole.
Well, it's called Partner, but it should be called Gangsta Time.
What's good, Chris?
Hey.
What up, everybody listening?
Oh, yeah. Also joining us, it is our producer. It is Edgelord. Big news, Brian.
なんというビッグニュース
What's up, nerds?
Wow. I am very excited for today's show. We are back to talk some manga. I'm very excited. We got One Piece. We got all this stuff. So we got Jujutsu Kaisen back this week. That's a big deal. So let's not waste any time. And let's get into plugs. You could find me at the Chris Espinal on Twitter and Instagram. Josh, where can they find you?
At JD Cole_37. That's on Instagram. And at New Jump City Josh. That's on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Brian?
You can find me at b.esp on both Instagram and Twitter. And if you ever want to catch me when I'm streaming, you can find me at twitch.tv/8SpongeLive.
Yes, you can. You can also follow the show itself at New Jump City on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. Check us out on those platforms. Email us at newjumpcitypod@gmail.com with any questions, suggestions, anything you guys want us to talk about, any comments you have about the show itself. Let us know there, or you can hit us up on our YouTube page for the comment section of the episode that you're listening to. We're still in pretty much audio only mode, but I have been uploading to YouTube as well again. So check us out on that if you prefer listening to a podcast on YouTube. If you prefer the audio version anyway, we're pretty much everywhere you get audio podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pandora, all of these places we're available. So check us out on any of those platforms. And I think that's it. Right. I think that's all for plugs. Without further ado, let's get into the show. Spoiler alerts ahead. One Piece. This is One Piece chapter 1083, The Truth of That Day. Last we left off, Sabo has returned to the headquarters of the revolutionaries, which is currently residing in Kamabaka Queendom, which is Ivankov's island. He's about to get into what has been going on with what happened at the Reverie for real, which I was actually worried that we actually wouldn't get into right away. But thankfully, Oda has been merciful in that department. He has gone into it directly. And it starts off by Sabo saying that he has completed all his objectives. And apparently he had 3 objectives and reasons for being on the Reverie. The first of which is to destroy the symbol of the Celestial Dragons, which it is as a declaration of war. And it is interesting. That symbol is the exact same one they brand slaves with on this. So I'm wondering the significance of it. But yeah, basically is to pull the Straw Hats on Enies Lobby and destroy the symbol and declare war officially against the world government. The second is to free as many slaves on Mary Joie as possible, and specifically Kuma as well, to return Kuma. And the third is to venture into the land of the gods and destroy their food stockpile. So apparently he managed to do all 3 of those things. And the results, as Dragon has, as we know, but Dragon kind of recounts for us, is that their influence in a dozen countries has increased, and it ended in 8 successful revolutions, as we've seen. Of course, one of those ended in a pretty big tragedy as Lulucia was wiped out by Emu and Uranus, not my anus. So yeah, they Dragon mentions that they're not going to write about it in the papers what happened, but the seven countries are now under new leadership and have cut off the heavenly tribute that they pay to the government and stopped exporting natural resources. So they definitely delivered a blow to the world government, and they're pretty psyched about it. Even Cuff specifically is like, you know, Marijois is an impenetrable fortress because of its great elevation, but they have no defense against the lack of food. Let's see how you like living without money in the bank or dinner on the table. So, they really got him a little bit, Dragons like we haven't cut off all of their supply lines, but they're gonna feel it a little bit from here on out. But Dragon mentions that uh they definitely expect a retaliation from the world government as a result. If they mobilize the Holy Knights, that's where the fighting is beginning. Because of course, if One Piece needed anything else, it's another villain group to contend with.
Is that not the old people?
No, that's not the five elders. Those are
Wow.
all new characters.
Nice.
Yeah.
The
Not
CP0 was not it.
Nope. CP0 has been mostly ineffective, as we've seen.
And have turned coded.
Yeah, it's not good.
I mean, CP0 isn't like they serve a different purpose.
No,
Oh.
sure. They're not.
They're more.
that so?
They're more like
They're not a fighting
reconnaissance
force
and-
primarily. They're an information gathering.
Yeah,
group.
the Holy Knights, and also the Holy Knights were mentioned before. I mean, the God Knights or whatever.
I actually, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I didn't remember them being mentioned before.
They only got mentioned one other time during Wano, when Akainu was talking about the events that happened in Mary Joie,
Mm-hmm.
and they said that the Holy Knights were mobilized to take care of remember that because one of the fucking celestial dragons let the revolutionaries go or some shit, or let Don and somebody else go for attacking celestial dragon.
I actually don't. I don't remember like the comment. I'm sure it happened.
Yeah,
It's just-
somebody tried to capture fucking Shirahoshi, and then
Oh
the
yeah,
celestial
no,
dragons were
I
like,
remember
"Fuck
that. I remember one of the celestial dragons saved Shirahoshi.
Yeah, and then the Holy Knights came in and they're like, "Yo, what's your fucking problem, dude?"
What's your problem, bro? What's your fucking issue? You don't get in the way of celestial dragons trying to oppress people, okay? But yeah, Eva is just like he refers to Sabo as Flame Emperor Boy. And he's like, "You're the one they'll be after most of all." He's like, "I'm still not feeling that name." Dragon mentions that the truth behind the assassination of King Cobra has turned you into a hero in the people's eyes. From the rebels' perspective, any king is an op. No king is truly respected, but most of them are shitty. But there are some wise and just kings who are capable rulers, and Cobra was considered to be one of them. So, it's not it's unfortunate that he was the one who had to go, but Sabo, in a pretty cold line, he's like, "Well, I'm sorry to King Cobra, but that works for me. Anything that gets the flame of revolution burning." And Dragon's like, "I like that attitude,
I do too.
Yeah. He said, "I'm sorry, Vivi's dad, but it had to happen. I don't care." However it worked out.
Go world.
Yeah. So basically, they slapped down the newspaper of Cobra's assassination, and Sabo is pictured dead to rights next to the corpse of King Cobra, and they asked Sabo basically to tell his side of the story. And lo and behold, we actually get it. We cut to a flashback of what's going on, what happened at the Reverie, and it happened a month ago. Of course, the revolutionaries have been, you know, on on the loose, causing havoc around Marijois. We get to see Karasu's ability as he comes in and rescues a former pirate slash current slave with his soot powers. Uh, and yeah, he does some cool stuff. Lindenberg is doing his thing like a little rocket raccoon that he is. Uh, doing stuff with his cool weapons and lasers.
Mm-hmm.
We see that Fujitora actually takes on Karasu himself. And meanwhile, Morley, the captain of the Western forces of the Revolutionary Army, is taking on Green Bull. And, they do a big fight. We actually get a little cameo of the rest of, like, the former CP9 members, which I guess was nice. I was wondering what happened to them for a long time, but I guess they're all part of CP0 now. They haven't really changed in
Right. Yeah, it was cool seeing them.
Yeah, they haven't really changed much in design except for Fukuro. He seems to have like what's his face from the Matrix?
The
Morpheus
shade.
glasses. Yeah, he has the shades, but they all are donning the right white suits. We see Jabra here, Gabo man. But yeah, it was cool to see them. The fighting commences, and meanwhile, Sabo is looking for the collar key that controls the explosive collars that are usually around slaves' necks. And he notices that Kuma has been moved to the Pangea Castle, and he's tracking Kuma's movements. And he notices that Charlos, the worst of these celestial dragons, it seems, is still looking for Shirahoshi, as if he hasn't learned his lesson from getting punched in the face several times for acting up. And we do see Jewelry
He's
Bonnie.
got something on his head too. He's got those are all like cannon wounds, right?
Yeah. Yeah, wasn't it can't no, the Don Quixote celestial dragon beat the fuck out of him for trying to get to Shirahoshi.
No, right. What I'm saying is those wounds are canon.
Oh yeah, they're canonical, yes. So that's happening. Jewelry Bonnie is on the island, of course, looking for Akuma. And we cut over to Vivi, who is being protected by Lucci personally, it seems. And Vivi is just like, I'm going to go to ask Vice Admiral Garp for help. You can go check out Shirahoshi because you know that Charlos is going to go after her again. And the chapter ends with Cobra going to see the five elders, and the guards at the gate are basically saying that his guards Chaka and Pell cannot pass that point. So Cobra's like, it's all right. You guys can just go and watch over Vivi. I'm worried about her, so I could speak to the elders on my own. And that's where this chapter ends. Wow, fairly eventful, very informative. Josh, what did you think about One Piece chapter 10, 1083?
Hmm. This was my RGC for the week for sure.
Whoa.
Same.
Whoa. I'm like so torn.
You don't have to decide right now.
I'll put mine on hold, but I'll give you guys a.
You can do regular RGCs.
Yeah.
And do this. Hey, you make the rules.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like if it's not in my heart, if it's not an immediate yes, this may not be my really good chapter of the week. But
How about the audience?
it is. Well, I wanted to wait till later, but it is tied with another series. So
Okay.
But I'm gonna give it the really good chapter of the week drop.
Certified RGC. Certified RGC. Certified RGC.
Go on.
Okay. So I was really excited, I'm sure as all of us were, that they immediately got into what Sabo was talking about, even if we didn't get to like the really how do I say, the I guess the catalyst, like the plot catalyst for the state that the world is in.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that we're getting like a little flashback for it. It's hopefully it'll last like another chapter or two. Like you said, it was cool to see like a bunch of characters returning from the revolutionary captains that I'm not gonna hold you, I think are all dead.
No, they're
To
there. They're all on the island.
Oh, they are
Yeah,
the
you saw.
captains.
They're in the last chapter. They're there. They made it out. They all escaped.
That's nice. It's really nice. Really nice. Okay. So yeah, it was it was nice seeing the old CP officers. I have a special connection to Kumadori.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah. Well,
Yo yo.
we do here at New Jump City, that's for sure. Uh, and with Monster Chopper, good times. So I just want to. I know you guys probably have other thoughts on the chapter, so I'm going to get specifically into like what made me think the most, which was like coming back around the topic of Cobra's death. Which if we go back to pages 5 and 6, where uh, what Dragon is, discussing how the world thinks that he killed Cobra, and your boy Sabo responds with, "Man, it's whatever. I could care less. It's helping. It's helping the plan. It's helping the process." So, I just wanted to know, how do you guys personally feel about that? I want to start with Brian. Like, what are your thoughts on how Sabo feels about that?
About Cobra's death.
Yeah.
I feel like Sabo is a lot more jaded than than I thought he was. I
Hmm.
guess it kind of makes sense because revolutionaries aren't necessarily like great people either. Because
Hmm.
you know you can't really be all sunshine like I have a sunshine and rainbows perspective on things if you're trying to bring about change in the world. If you see that the world is like terrible right now and like you are trying to make a step for change, so you can't really be like, oh shit man, he fucking died, oh no. Like, unfortunately, Sabo's right. Like, his death might actually spark something in people. uh
Well, let me ask
and
you this, if you don't mind me interjecting.
uh
What if it was one of the fellow revolutionary captains that died, and he had the same response? Do you would you have felt different, or do you think you would have felt the same?
i think
As
I think the revolutionaries as a whole just believe that sacrifices have to be made. I think it's fucked up, but I think
I
that's just how they think.
I don't think he would be as necessarily like, because the revolution, like the flames of revolution, the revolutionaries dying is not the same effect that them being framed for killing a king would have. If a revolutionary
Mhm.
dies, I don't know how many people have that connection to a king. It's just like kind of a soldier going down. And I don't think Sabo himself would feel this way about any of the revolutionaries dying, especially, seeing how emotional he is about Kuma.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Um,
So
yeah.
right. So with that said, you guys, I remember we had a discussion about Cobra as a king and what he represents to his people and in the series, right? And we don't have to rehash all of that, but I remember you guys both kind of had like the perspective that he is a good king that helped his people and was, had a like he was good for his people. He wasn't like these celestial dragons. He tried his best to, for right as far as I know, he tried his best to make life better for citizens in his
Yeah.
country. And it wasn't until Crocodile took over is where the country fell into hardship.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what I'm really trying to figure out. Like as far as Sabo as a character goes, how do you look at this situation? Do you feel like he's wrong for, even though, yeah, strategically it helps the revolution, knowing that a member of nobility died. But do you guys look at him as like, man, like that was really like insensitive
You know what's funny
or
about it is I don't think it's particularly bad. I think it's
Mhm,
interesting in the way that Cobra, more than any other, well, or most kings in the One Piece world, is someone we've spent a lot of time with. Uh,
mhm.
and we know, and is has like is connected to the Straw Hats in a stronger way than most. I'm wondering how like this would, like in the way I think about it is how would the Straw Hats react to Sabo killing what is like someone who treated them well, and they know he's like on the up and up, and he's literally the father of one of their best friends. Um, I'm wondering if that's like a source of friction for them in terms of not because the Straw Hats aren't like particularly like politically minded, so they see
Yeah,
Cobra as a friend.
right.
Um, so
You're not gonna think about it big picture wise.
but I think
And
like
not for
this,
lack of understanding or intelligence, just because on an emotional level
right,
and personal level,
right.
right?
They
I'm
like
sure
they know the
Luffy
guy.
will believe it.
They
I'm
know the
sure
guy,
Luffy
and
will.
they spent time with him. And after Alabasta, he sheltered them from the Marines. And Cobra, ironically, the funny thing about Cobra dying is that he is the only, like Alabasta is the only kingdom to have like backed out, or like the Cobra, the Nefeltari family was
Mhm,
the only family that actively backed out of being celestial dragons when the world government was formed. So it's
mhm.
interesting that I wonder if that's like ever going to be seen as a little bit of a hypocritical move by the revolutionaries as
Mm.
being like their assassination of the only king that didn't partake in or the only like royal family that didn't partake in the atrocities that the rest of the world government founders took part in. But
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I wonder if they are gonna explore that.
yeah, it would be interesting. I don't think Sabo is particularly a bad person for thinking this way. These guys are fighting like they have a more noble cause in mind. Uh, you know,
I think it definitely makes him more jaded, though, for
yeah,
sure.
they I mean, he also, he doesn't have the same relationship with Cobra that the audience has or the Straw Hats have. To him, Cobra's just another king.
Uh-huh.
And in the revolutionaries' eyes, the world government is the enemy. Like they're different from pirates in that they're like a group that is actively only targeting the navy and fighting the
Uh,
navy specifically, whereas pirates
Mhm,
tend to just run afoul of the navy and just become naturally enemies. These guys are aggressors towards like the military and the government and stuff, so it's a different relationship altogether. And we've seen how shitty the government can be, so I don't blame them for thinking this way, really. um
mhm. I mean, they went ahead and erased an entire nation because they
oh yeah.
wanted to create their own, they wanted to make their own decisions.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean the One Piece government in particular is pretty foul. So
Yeah.
it really makes sense for Sabo to feel this way.
Mhm,
I think like the revolutionaries, with the little we've seen of them, are like one of the more interesting groups in the series in general, and it is
mhm.
super cool to see more of them. But yeah, I think that's my answer to it. It's a little
So
complicated, but I don't think Sabo is like particularly evil or bad for thinking this way.
I think complicated is the word for me, for sure, for sure. So just to kind of respond to your thoughts and Brian's, I guess, to a lesser extent. I do believe that this conflict is setting up. I don't. I think we're gonna have conflict between the revolutionaries and the Straw Hats, but I think it's gonna be for more reasons than just Cobra's death. I think more things are gonna happen in the future where they're not just running into Shanks and Blackbeard and Navy people, but also revolutionaries that may be counterproductive to what uh the Straw Hats have to go through or the people they're trying to protect. We'll see. Those are just kind of what I feel like we may see, and I think that would be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I'm really hoping that that's not the case, and that Luffy does, if he does have any type of political thought to him, not that he must, but that he would kind of organically side with his father and the revolutionaries, because that's their goal as well, to allow to give freedom to people to make their own decisions.
I think just naturally, Luffy he's literally the god of freedom right now.
Right.
I think it would be, I think he would just, I think he'd be, if there is a conflict, it would be for entirely different reasons. I don't know what they would be, but I don't think he would have in any opposition to what they stand for.
Exactly. I think it's going to be a series of emotional occurrences. Like
Right.
perhaps like maybe the the Straw Hats will be on the island, and the revolutionary, like maybe there'll be someone there, like one of the captains, and they're really cold towards the people, and they're like, listen, some people got to die in order for this goal. Maybe something like that. I think that's really all right. I ain't gonna lie. I think that's a little corny or cliche narratively, but this is Oda we're speaking of, so I'm sure he can make anything more engaging.
Yeah.
But just to kind of wrap up my thoughts, right? So when you say complicated, that's how I felt about the situation with Sabo and Cobra, because I do feel like inherently, kings and the government, they are the issue, but with Cobra, you can argue that he had to be in that position for his people so that they wouldn't, be exploited further than, what they already are handling from the world government. It's like I've said in the past that, regardless if he was a quote unquote good or wise king, you don't need to be in the position and live in the castle and be above anybody. I don't agree with that. I think
I will say this.
that's weird to me.
During Alabasta, Cobra was willing to blow up his entire palace to save Alabasta,
Yeah,
like without a second thought.
exactly. So right, and that leads back to saying why the thoughts are complicated. Because with Sabo, I do agree with him, and it's sad. Emotionally, it sucks that he passed away, and I think we're gonna figure. Obviously, the end of the chapter, we've seen them question Sabo, like, hey, like you're our man's, but we have some evidence here in the newspaper, and we need you to break it down. So I don't know.
Luffy's not going to believe it.
We have to
it's
find
also
out if
'cause
Sabo actually did it or not. But I'm just
that's the
saying
thing.
though, like
Sabo didn't do it. I think like Sabo's being framed, and I think Dragon in his mind is trying to hear the whole story, so he should so he can figure out if he wants to roll with that accusation. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
yeah, for sure.
because he's seeing that like Sabo's the story of Sabo killing Cobra has sparked a lot of inspiration in other countries to rise up and take control of their own countries. So I feel like, but he's in this complicated spot where Cobra is different. He's like the only guy that's like kind of like that has that history with the world government, and his family's not really involved with all that shit. So he has to know that it wasn't it wasn't fucking weird that he like that Sabo killed a king of such high regard before they can be like, okay, yeah, fine, we did it, you know, just to keep that fire of revolution going, you know.
Right. You can. I mean, I just I had the confidence in Sabo, and not even aside from the characters, just narratively speaking, if any kings were going to be assassinated, it would be Cobra.
Yeah.
Out of all of them,
Mm-hmm.
there's incentive there. You know, Sabo knows he didn't kill him, so he has no reason to feel some type of remorse. It was unfortunate given who he was character wise, but you know, ultimately, he was a part of and represented something that they're trying to take down, as nice as he was,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and regardless of the circumstances,
Right.
because he's out here fighting and risking his life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all the same.
Yeah, that's what's
So I guess,
interesting about
you
it
know,
too, because if you remember way back in like that one intermission from Wano, the five elders before all this happened met with Emu and asked him if there's a light, what light he wants them to snuff out. So I think like they probably chose Alabasta, and the killing of Cobra is the first step in doing that, and just like wiping out that family line.
when you guys called it?
Hmm?
When have you guys called it too?
I think a lot of people called it. I feel like that's not like such a huge leap to make, because like we already know that that Alabasta is looked as different because of the Nefeltari family's like distance from the original 20 founders and their hesitancy to become celestial dragons. So it's between them and Fishman Island, who are not necessarily who have just like been inducted into the world government right now and are not very highly looked upon.
Right.
So, you know, it could have been only one of those two, because the other kings seem to be in line with
Now
what's
we
going.
are leaning towards Alabaster getting
Yeah,
wiped
Alabasta
out.
was the most
And I wonder
likely.
if Crocodile's gonna feel some kind of way about that.
I don't think Crocodile has any emotional stake in
He's not
Alabasta.
from Alabasta?
No,
No.
Oh,
he
okay.
only tried to take it over because
He-
there was rumors that
Pluton was there.
Pluton was there.
But no, it's actually on Wano.
Not even close.
He did even
Not even close.
Not
Nope.
even in the same zip code.
No, he had to go under a whole nother wall to get to the Pluton. He was
In
off.
20 years.
He was off. But yeah, I don't know. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about, Josh?
No, just ultimately I think Sabo is perfectly rational and
Reasonable. Makes
and
sense.
no, yeah, you know, I think the word I'm looking for, right or wrong, conscious. These are all similar words to what I'm looking for. Morally speaking,
Hmm.
he's right at this. It is unfortunate that he died, but overall a good thing. Brian, any other leftover thoughts about the chapter?
So there's been a lot of chatter.
Ooh.
There's been quite a lot of chatter. When the Holy Knights are brought up, you see the silhouettes, right?
Yeah, I know where this is going.
I don't actually.
You see,
I need to go look.
Josh,
What page?
fuck, page 4. If you direct your attention to page 4 at the panel with the Holy Knight silhouettes, there is one that looks not even not even extremely similar, just a very small fucking chance that one of them kinda, sorta, maybe a little bit looks like Shanks.
There's no way.
The guy in the front with the sword. Only because I think the
No,
sword is the only defining characteristic because only Shanks has been seen with a sword like that.
no, you underestimate Oda's lack of creative character design when it comes to coolness. When it comes to
But
weird shit, he can create, endless amount of characters. But for his archetypal coolness, they're all similar. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Yeah.
so what's really like the theory is that it's not Shanks. It's Shanks's one of Shanks's family members. They're saying that this is a member of the Figureland family. I don't know who the fuck the Figureland family is. I know they were mentioned in the most recent One Piece movie,
The
but
figure.
that's the
Mm,
Figureland family, which may have ties to the Celestial Dragons to some extent, perhaps. I don't know. This one's not very this one's not very fleshed out, but
mm,
people believe that Shanks has a connection with the Holy Knights, which is why he's able to so freely do whatever the fuck he wants. You know, like go into Mary Joie and meet with the Gorosei, intercept fucking Yonko on behalf of of the Navy. Like he's done a lot
mhm,
of things for both sides, you know?
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
And he might just be getting away with it mainly because of his family ties.
Can
I'm
I be real with you for a moment?
yeah.
So
This sounds like an agenda.
That is just a cope by people with agendas.
I did
Yeah,
the drop.
that sounds like an agenda from Shanks fans that need more, that just need more than what we've been given. They got a
A
little
hockey
taste
man? You mean
of
a
Shanks
fighter who
being
relies on
Hokage.
hockey?
They got a little taste, and they're like, you know what? Let's expand this lore more. There's a whole family of hockey men, and they're all cool and swag, and
A
all
hockey
lost their
man?
arm for somebody else, and and they're all at the end point. I am a Shanks fan, by the way, but I do not have Uzumaki genes.
That is just a cope by people with
I'm a
agendas.
I'm a
that is just
regular
a cope.
person. I'm a regular dude, okay? Not one of those
Yeah.
like Brian apparently, and these theory crafters.
I also
I'll say
speaking of the
this.
Holy Knights. Oh, sorry.
I
Go ahead.
think I think it's highly unlikely, but the theory kind of tracks enough that I can't really count it out entirely. But in my heart of hearts, I don't really think it's Shanks because I think like the world government can be pussy sometimes. So if Shanks pulls up to Marijois, I feel like the Gorosei would be treading lightly. They wouldn't want to just like fight him. And they know that he's not reckless enough that he's just gonna cause trouble like that. I feel like they have kind of an understanding and some relationship, obviously. They can like talk. But I don't know if he's a holy knight.
There's
Yeah,
there's there's so
it's
much
either
to
he's
Shanks we don't know,
related to the
bro.
Holy Knight or he has some connection to them.
What is his goal, man?
Shanks
What is his plan?
Yeah. I mean, there's
to
a lot of
We don't know.
there's a
We
lot
don't
of
get the
know.
people
One
whose
Piece.
plans we don't know. Like we don't really even know how the revolutionaries are going to go about what they want to do. There's still so much we don't know about Dragon. I don't know anything about Dragon.
Yeah, and we don't
We
even
know
know
what their
anything about
goals are, though.
Bogard yet.
We know what their
But we
goals
know
are,
we know what their goals
but
are.
we don't know
We
like
don't know what Shanks' goals are,
Dude,
other
we
than
don't
to indirectly help Luffy from time to time, and
dude,
also stunt.
how are we gonna get into what fucking Shanks's motives are before we get into Bogard's motives?
Who the fuck is that?
Wait. Wait a second. You're telling me you don't know about fucking Bogard?
Chris, help me.
Dude, this
Actually,
guy is a fucking Chris. Come on, help me out here.
I don't
You
know
know
who Bogart
Bogart.
is.
Send me
Who's
a rap,
Bogart?
please, man.
Chris, you know Bogart, right?
I don't know.
Chris?
I don't know.
Wait, you don't know?
Wow.
Oh my god, you guys are so uncultured.
Oh God. Who's
This is not your
who-
RGC. This is not your RGC this week at all.
You
Your
guys are
connection with
telling
One
me.
Piece is weak this week.
You guys are telling me that you are big fans of One Piece and you don't know about one of the most important characters in the
I
series?
smoke weed 7 days a week.
He's named
What's Christian's
Bogart.
excuse?
Smoke weed every day. I wish I had that as a drop.
What's Chris's excuse?
I actually don't have one. I think Brian's capping.
Oh,
No,
capping and lying like Jesse Smollett? That's
Bogart.
crazy.
You know what? Huh. Let me educate you guys real
Oh
quick.
God. It's got to be all dramatic about it.
Bogart is Garp's right hand man.
Oh my God.
And the community has been rampant with there has been an upwards trend in Bogart theories lately.
That's really
I
funny.
don't know why.
Because
I
I'm
don't
looking
know
at
how.
I never knew his name, but I know this guy. He's always next to Garp.
he is theorized to be as strong as Garp. He is a master swordsman. And there have been rampant theories that he is the leader of Sword and working in close relation to the Revolutionary Army. You're telling me that this guy whose strength rivals that of the greatest hero of all time isn't going to be more relevant?
Yeah. No, you're right. I feel like Bogart's going to be relevant.
Listen, all I'm saying is if we don't get a Bogart backstory before we get into Shanks, then I'm gonna drop this series.
Those are big words, Brian.
Well, I gotta
Yeah.
stick to them. I
It
have
sounds
high
like you will be
standards.
dropping the series.
I mean, Brian, there's literally a 95% chance you're dropping the series.
And Chris is giving you grace there.
I am giving you
I'm
breaks on
calling
the
it right
fact that
now.
Oda will make a backstory for anybody.
I'm calling it right now. We will get an extensive, several page long Bogart backstory
Some big words.
featuring Bogart. And if we
What,
don't,
what I gotta do if that's true?
Let me tell you something. Brian's gonna win this bet because there's gonna be a Garp flashback in which Bogart is heavily featured because he is
And
Garp's
that's
right
an
hand man.
account. No. It's all gonna be about Bogart.
Oh, okay, never mind.
It's a
You're gonna name your
Bogart
child
front and
Bogart.
center backstory.
You heard that, Brian?
What?
I said you're gonna name your child.
Bogart? Yes, I am. And I'll be proudly doing that too.
Yeah, this is recorded, bro.
Yeah. It
That's
will live
that
on
should be a
forever.
draft.
Don't sleep on Bogart.
Okay. I'll write it down so I don't forget.
Okay.
You'll remember the name. You'll remember the
Cool.
name Bogart.
Well, are
don't
those
even
all
know
your
how to spell
thoughts,
it.
Brian?
Yeah, that's all my thoughts.
I think we've discussed a lot of One Piece. The only thing I had, like a thought that came to me, is that I really wonder what Dragon thinks about Luffy and his new fruit abilities.
Does he know about it?
He don't give a fuck about it.
That's it, yeah, right? Because I'm like, Dragon has been
That nigga
fairly
scratched his neck.
unimpressed
He was
by.
like,
He's been fairly unimpressed by anything Luffy does.
I mean, it's because Luffy's not really on the same course as him.
Yeah,
But I'm sure if Dragon knows about the history, then he knows about Luffy's fruit. And
I'm
knows what's
sure
going
he
on.
knows about Luffy's fruit. I'm almost positive. But I'm wondering,
But
like, how
every time Dragon talks about Luffy, it's kind of like he's waiting for something, you know? It's not like he's like eager to meet him ever, or like he takes an interest in him whenever something happens.
no.
He's just waiting for something, for a specific moment For
Yeah, I don't know.
when it comes to Luffy.
I'm very fascinated to see what that dynamic would be because they're gonna meet.
I feel like they're a lot, even though on paper they don't seem very similar. I feel like have a lot more in common than their
No, I know they do.
appearances let on.
I know they have a bunch in common. I'm just so because every time like we've seen Dragon kind of like talk about Luffy or be spoken to about Luffy, he's always like, "Yeah, that's cool, I guess."
But he is always standing on a balcony facing the direction that Luffy is in.
Is that true? Is that a fact?
Yeah, no, that actually is a thing.
Geomatically correct.
Yeah, like there was I forget where it happened, but there was a time when fucking Ivankov came up and he was like, "Yo, Dragon, you like always stand up here facing in that direction all the time. Is that the direction that Luffy's in?" And then
That's
Dragon's
cute.
just, huh?
That's cute, I guess.
Yeah, and he just like stands
Just
there,
checking on my boy.
just staring at my boy from 5 million miles away.
Yeah, I'm just so fascinated in the dynamic and what he thinks about the Nika fruit because everybody's like the government's freaked out. So I think he would have an interest in anything the government is freaked out about.
Yeah, I'm sure he knows why
Yes.
the government's freaked out though.
I feel like that would be the proudest that Dragon has ever been of his kid. He's like, "Oh, my boy freaked out the government real bad."
My seed.
That's my boy. But yeah, that's the only other thought that we haven't really talked about here. I thought this chapter was great. It was cool to see the revolutionaries do their thing and go up against admirals without fear. Pretty cool.
Why didn't the revolutionaries attack Marineford during the war? Wouldn't that have been like their shot?
No, because like, I don't know how much you accomplish just adding on to that. I feel like their battle is more ideological than anything. Than simply like physically punching Marines. I think like they're trying to go after the big fish, which are the celestial dragons.
Agreed.
But yeah, I mean that's all I got to say about One Piece. Fantastic
Yeah,
chapter as always. So glad that it's not off again this week, but I'm sure this will be it. I'm sure we're coming up on a break. I know it. But I am very excited to read it next week. So excited. One Piece has been so cool.
Yeah, Bogart fan club stand up.
Yeah, let's go Bogart fan club. But is there anything else you guys want to add before we move on?
Go Bogart.
All right. Then let's move on to the next chapter.
Bloody Cross.
My Hero Academia. This is My Hero Academia, chapter 388, Toya. Last we left off, lots of stuff was going on with Toya. He is burning his way over towards the shelters that the heroes have created for themselves. And Endeavor is the only one to really stop him. As he's trying to stop him taking a massive fire beating, he is noticing that in basically at death's door, Dobby's or Toya rather, his ice quirk has started to activate within himself, and he has finally decided, you know what, I'm taking responsibility. I'm going to boost you up into the sky, and I won't let anybody else get hurt because we are a fucking traumatic family. And as he was boosting himself up to do that, Rei, the mother of all the Todoroki children, has appeared to help out using her ice abilities to cool down Toya. And this chapter starts out in the evacuation system, where the heroes have been contending against the spies that All For One has embedded within the evacuation system. We see, I forget her, Kendo, her name is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God I nailed that because I like Kendo. Kendo is
Hmm.
basically like hand blasting these guys, and everybody is escaping the evacuating the evacuation pods to I guess manually walk their way to the next stop. They arrive at a rooftop as it's all raining. The citizens are all up there, and they notice the big fiery explosion that is Dobby going on over there. And the Todoroki family specifically notice this and basically make their way. These robots pull up and are like, hop aboard. So I guess for some reason they decide to take Ray to the epicenter, and the robots say, she basically commands them, like, take me to the epicenter of that big old my sun explosion. And the robot goes, we exist to serve humans' desires. I'm like, all right,
Thumbs up.
thumbs up. And as it gets incinerated, I guess this fucking machine dies. Uh,
It's
goddamn.
taking quite the punishment.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
it's not doing great.
Like the Terminator.
Yeah. So Ray. We cut back to the present, and Ray is trying her best to basically freeze Toya. But it's not working. His fire is just too overwhelming, and it is burning her to a crisp as well. But
Her forehead is done.
ooh, it's not good. It's not looking good right now. Ugh, that's brutal. Imagine your forehead peeling like that. Eesh.
Yeah, her forehead's forever going to be grilled and fried.
Nice fried forehead, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically, as this is happening, Toya also notices that Natsu and Fuyumi are in the background as well, using their ice powers to supplement her ice powers. And they're getting closer and trying their best to also cool them down. I think Natsu have the mom's abilities as well? Because I'm not. I know that the sister always did. I'm not sure if Natsu also.
Natsu, I think, also has ice powers.
So
Yeah, I didn't know either of them. Did.
I knew Fuyumi
Until this
had it.
point.
Toya and Shoto are the only ones to inherit fire, I believe.
So yeah, the family just gets closer and closer, and the chapter ends with this visage of the family kind of coming together and embracing Toya to a degree. Crazy short chapter of My Hero, only 12 pages, but eventful nonetheless.
He must be drawing up a fucking storm for the next chapter.
I think like Horikoshi was actually sick for a time. That's why he took a couple weeks off. And these chapters are usually at least like a week or two ahead done. So this might have been the chapter that he was working on when he got sick, and he just kind of cut it short so he could recover. That's my thought anyway. But anyway, Josh, what did you think about My Hero Academia chapter 388?
I didn't feel the same emotional toll with this chapter as I did last week, but it was still good nonetheless. I was really happy to see the kids pull up and show their ice powers and not be regular people. Nice. But they're also victims of inbreeding and stuff. So
They're not inbreed. They're not inbred.
you're right, but their bloodline is part of their bloodline is very weird.
Oh yeah, I guess. I mean,
yeah. Anyway, yeah, I it was crazy seeing the mom get burned up, and then he showed Endeavor's face, and he doesn't have any features anymore. It's just eyes, nose, and teeth.
yeah, he's a skull.
You'll know him as that. Like he'll forever be the Red Skull moving forward.
Yeah, a fucking Ghost Rider.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You're
Until
right.
Eri reverses all the damage.
That's a thought.
That's something to think about. That would be a really nice happy end of the day.
The series ends with Eri reversing time on the entire planet.
Yeah. But maybe Endeavor just keeps his face like that.
Maybe. Don't do me. I gotta repent. Don't
I
fix my
need
scar.
this.
Don't fix my burned face and my scar.
This is who I am, like Todoroki. Oh, is that the poetic thing? Nah, I have a full burnt face.
Yeah, I guess that's poetic.
Or his sins? I don't know. Maybe. I hope the family freezes everybody and they turn into an iceberg hugging, and but they survive it.
Yeah.
Like a hugging icicle.
Yeah, I feel like Shoto is gonna come in and do that. He has the capability to do the iceberg thing.
Yeah, but not kill them.
No.
Yeah, just save them. Either gonna pull up real quick. Oh, you know what? I wonder when they was looking at the massive fire if it's blue, because that's sick. I can't wait to see that in the anime.
Yeah, I think it would be
There was
blue.
if there was gonna be some color pages, it should have been this week or next week with showing that big fire blue. I need to see that. We're being robbed of of an artistic masterpiece.
Hmm. Agreed.
Brian,
Well, first things first, I want to talk about how much I didn't like Dobby's awakening.
Whoa.
I thought it was a little corny, not gonna lie.
Whoa.
we addressed that last week too.
I thought
I never
this
thought I'd hear
was
from Brian though.
I thought this was a weird way for it to come out, and I feel like I think it was like 900% more interesting with the fact that Dobby was more of a fucking like like seen as a failed product compared to Shoto, who is like
Mhm.
the perfected product of Endeavor. And now just giving him fucking ice quirk, like an ice quirk this late, and just making him be like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm hot and cold too now. It's just so, like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right, at least not the way that they're presenting it now. And now getting into this chapter, I don't know, reading it again, it's a little bit better than last chapter, I guess. I just feel like, I don't know, this is the best part. Like, this arc is the best part of My Hero, like when it comes to like Endeavor and his storyline. But I don't know, it feels like it's not hitting as hard for some reason, and I don't know why.
I never thought I'd be on this side, but I guess in defense of my hero, um I think like Toya's thing is that he inherited the susceptibility, like the weakness of ice to fire without the ice, and I feel like that has just been the ice quirk all along. It's been dormant, and I think I didn't think of it that way in that regard, where I was like it's probably dormant, but and the other thing that saves it is that it's not necessarily like he's mastered ice. It's just like instinctually it's there and it exists, and it's the only thing pretty much keeping him alive for this long. But I understand what you mean as well. Josh had a similar thought last week as well.
Well, yes,
Similar,
kind of
not
similar,
exactly.
but I thought, well, all right. So my thing was, I said that usually I would roll my eyes at something like that, especially in My Hero Academia, because it seemed very last minutey, and even though we've had that had been a precedent for it before, like with Quirk's awakening or manifesting, in times of struggle and of high pressure, they introduced it in such a way that, oh, this is something that that develops when you're about to die, like literally when you are moving on to the other plane of existence, I guess, aside from divine quirk intervention or something like that. But anyway, look, I think aside from the sudden nature of it, I thought that it was more poetic narratively than anything else, and that's why it worked for me, Brian. Because like Chris said, technically he always had that ice aspect of him, and I don't think it was about him becoming this ice and fire guy to Todoroki's like I don't think it was Endeavor realizing, oh my god, you look what you could have been or something like that. I think it was him like accepting that he like this monster is a product of him and and what his mother created, which was even more powerful by the fact that she came at the end willing to like destroy her own body because it was she was accepting like this is our responsibility. And I thought it was shown through the quirk manifestation because all the ice allowed was for him to kind of survive up to a point where he can turn into this bomb. It was all about narrative, and I feel like it was, like I said, done well emotionally. So I am really surprised he wasn't feeling it because they even
Actually,
had the explanation in the beginning about the bloodlines. So it's like that dormant having that a strong dormant ice power makes sense for their family too.
actually, now I think about it, now you guys bring it up, I guess it is like an interesting, also another interesting idea that if Endeavor were, you know, if Endeavor were more patient with him, with Dobby, and treated him more like a son, and like, mentored him and brought him up, regardless, he he would have become like the son that he always wanted, you know?
Yeah, I was
I
just
think there's
thinking
some of
that.
that too.
I
Yeah,
was just
yeah,
thinking that.
I agree with that.
I was about to say that like it's not the main idea, but I think there is a touch of irony there. Is that all along that Endeavor, it is kind of like a symbol for like he was the son that you always wanted just by being your son. Like
But you was an asshole,
yeah, you were an asshole. If you weren't
to
an
say the least.
asshole,
You were abusive, you know, neglective and insensitive, like, and you led your son like down the path to destroy himself.
hmm
It was a mix of a lot of things. There was even a moment where they had that flashback. I know guys were rehashing last week's, but it was that good of a chapter. I don't mind.
hmm
But yeah, they even had a little flashback with a whole bunch of different panels, and I think it kind of encompasses the point we're making here, where it's like it was such a wide range of factors leading into what happened in the circumstance they're in now. And this was Endeavor's moment. This is their family's moment, I guess, to come together and try their best to repent.
hmm
It's working for me.
yeah, I think so too. I think it's working for me also.
You guys won me over a little bit, but I don't know, still something feels wrong. Maybe
Because the series should be lasting for like 5 more years, and we shouldn't be at this point yet. That's why you feel weird, bro.
no, I think it's also in part of the way that Dobby was written a little bit. In this chapter, I feel like he was much better. But I don't know. I don't know how much, like, sure, he's kind of lost his mind and shit. But I feel like, there was probably a better way for him to go about writing Dobby losing his mind rather than having him kind of revert to being a child again. I don't know. Maybe
I think the child
I think that
thing.
makes sense, but
I think the child thing tracks kind of because he is like gone at this point. Like mentally, like he is at death's door pretty much. I feel like his
it just
mind.
happened so fast.
I guess so. I mean, I thought like when he did his initial heel turn where he first revealed Toya, he was a little like dramatic about it. um, that. But in this, I think it makes sense because he's almost not even a person. He is a charred individual currently. So I let it slide a little bit where he is not even even like comparative to before, he is for sure not in his right mind currently, as his brain is cooking.
Yeah.
I just hope that. I just wonder what they're trying to do with his character. Like, is he just like is his character arc similar to Endeavor's, where like, they both are like gonna end up trying to like repent for what they did? Like, is that how Endeavor's storyline is gonna end? Is like both of them walking down the path of redemption together?
I think so. I mean, I think like
Like,
Endeavor, like in terms of the interpersonal thing, I think Endeavor owes Toya a lot more than the other way around.
I think it is a road that they could both walk down together, I guess. But I just wonder what they're planning for him. Like, what is his resolution to his story? Like, is he gonna make a sacrifice play to save somebody?
Yeah, I don't
Like,
know. I feel like,
is he gonna die with Endeavor? Like, what are they planning with him?
yeah, I don't know. I have I have a feeling Toya is not making it out. I just have a distinct feeling that him and Endeavor are gonna die in some way together. Whether it's them going to All for One or Shigaraki themselves and delivering a big explosion attack together. But for whatever reason, I'm thinking maybe Toya doesn't make it out of this. But I could be wrong about that, obviously. I don't know where they're going with Toya. I think like that's part of the fun because I've never known. I feel like this was just like one of those things that's very difficult to write because it is a very heavy subject matter, and there's like there's a myriad of ways to go about it. So, with this story in particular, I'm like, Horikoshi, take the wheel. I feel like he's done effective enough job so far that I'm like, I think he knows where he wants to end up, and I think he'll get us there at some point.
All I know is that Shoto is gonna play a big role in the conclusion of this story, because he is on the way with a fucking one speedy boy.
Yeah. Expedited delivery.
But that's all I got.
I don't have much more.
Actually, now I think about it, he surprisingly Ida also has a little bit of a tie to this.
Brian, that's what I said last week. I said that I feel like Ida is like kind of the inverse of the Todoroki family, where they've got a pretty healthy dynamic. Ida's also got a brother thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there might be a parallel tied there. I don't think it's a coincidence that they're paired up.
Yeah, that they're both coming.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ida is the one who actually saves Toya and the Todoroki family.
That will probably be surprising.
Chill. Yeah, you are very ambitious.
Ida takes them to family counseling. He picks them all up and runs them into a therapist office.
That would be crazy and probably warranted.
Illusions of grandeur.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't have much
Brian
more.
is schizophrenic.
What?
I said Brian is schizophrenic.
That's crazy.
The voices.
The voices.
The voices that tell him that My Hero Academia will be coherent.
I've been the one who's the most critical this week.
I know it's pretty crazy, huh? I'm sure it'll change next week. Yeah, I don't have much else to say really either. Obviously, a very short chapter, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, I think. I feel like this is a kind of no fault to really Horikoshi in general. I feel like this was like one of the chapters that he was making while he was sick or something. So it can't be helped. You got a lot done in that time, I guess. I think the robot thing was a little weird. It's like, why? How did the robot know to come get them?
I think it was just
Brian,
like
how
a.
did you feel about the robot?
I think the robot
On a
was just
scale of
like
1 to 10.
It was just a service robot that's there to escort people,
Uh-huh.
and it just follows voice commands, and I guess it just brought them to where they wanted
So
to
on a
go.
scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about the rescue robot?
I mean, I'm okay with them. I didn't really care much.
Would you
Yeah.
say a 5?
It was sad that it died.
Oh, okay. No, you know why I'm bugging. All right.
Maybe a
You know what?
6.
The robots make sense, I guess.
I'm just sad that that robot died. It was
No,
actually
yeah, this
pretty cool.
robot was like they mentioned that, like, if they mount them, they're supposed to give them directions. But like, why would you
Yeah.
entrust the citizens to do that?
Well, maybe it's just easier that way.
Maybe.
I mean, typically most people are gonna run away from danger,
I guess so.
not towards it. So
Yeah.
they just trust that regular civilians' fight or flight instinct is correct.
Yeah,
choice.
I guess they don't expect them to dive headfirst into a supernova with their $1 million robots. But yeah, that's all I
Yeah,
got.
they
I
were
mean,
expensive.
it wasn't really a make or break thing. It was just, I guess, like a thought. If I were to bring up something that we haven't talked about, I guess the robot thing felt weird for a second, but then it made sense, I guess. But I'm good. Do you guys have any other thoughts before we move onward?
Nope.
All right, let's get moving to the next chapter.
Bitches get shot, it get heavy. Gra.
Jujutsu Kaisen. This is Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 222, 4 tokens. Last we left off, Gojo was freed. Very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, he's back. He put the
Very,
beats,
very cool.
he put the beats on Urume, and basically he made plans with the antagonists of the series to go to showdown at noon, so to speak. They're going to fight on Christmas Day, and everybody disperses, I guess, to get their shit together. We open this chapter with Urume feeding the remaining fingers of Sukuna to Sukuna himself. They've gotten all but one, basically, because Gojo has the last finger on him. And Urume's like, I shall accept whatever punishment is necessary. And Sukuna's like, it's fine.
You weirdo.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I think Sukuna says that, like, Gojo definitely has the last one, because he figured that, like, the whole point of having Itadori eat all the fingers is to postpone his execution, and he probably held on to the last one to postpone it as much as he possibly could. So
Makes sense.
it's an indefinite hold, and Urume is not very happy about that, but Sukuna's like, it's fine, I can compensate for one digit. And the mummified body of Sukuna, as I said last time, Sukuna reaches for it, and he's like, did Kenjaku or Tengen do this ironically? And he goes to munch on his mummified skull.
Its own.
So that's gonna be interesting.
Real quick, if Sukuna's right here, that Gojo does have the last finger, then I think this might be a death flag for Gojo.
It might be. I mean, he's about to eat his entire body, I guess.
It's not because of that. I think it's because, Gojo, that shows that Gojo is always looking out for his students, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's currently possessing, like, his boy, like his surrogate child at this point, or his surrogate little brother.
Yeah.
So the odds that he wins this fight without having to kill Megumi at the same time is extremely low, and Sukuna knows this.
Well, I think Gojo would do it, though.
I don't think so.
I think he would. I feel like
I think Gojo is going to go into this fight Like, obviously, he's gonna try to win, but he's not gonna try to kill. He's gonna
Well, let's save some thought.
he's going to hesitate for 1 split second, and that split second is going to be enough for Sukuna to kill him. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, Gojo, the man who has literally all of time in his control, essentially, slips up 1 second, and that costs him his life. That's what I think.
Hmm. Counterpoint: Gojo just wins. Imagine. I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen would do that.
I feel like he would, but I don't think he's like that. I don't think he's like, sure, if he wasn't possessing Megumi, this would be a free fight for Gojo. I think Gojo wins. But he's possessing Megumi. So I think this is going to play a big role in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Sukuna might just let Megumi free for just a moment, just to throw Gojo off, and then repossess him just to kill him.
That's possible, but I don't know. Something in my gut is like just being like, I feel like Gojo is, although he does have like an affinity to care for his students and his friends and all that stuff, I feel like he understands that Megumi is more than likely far gone at this point. And even if he wasn't, just having fucking Sukuna so fucking powerful in his body is probably just too big a threat to even consider it.
Here's another possibility. And this is, all right, I'm going to preface this by saying that this is as out there as it could possibly get. As absolutely astronomically out there. Like fucking 10,000 galaxies away. But they make it a point that there are multiple people who could surpass Gojo, right? So what if, to save Megumi, Gojo allows Sukuna to possess him, so that everybody can band together to kill Gojo with Sukuna in his body?
Wow.
Wait, can you say that again?
That is pretty crazy.
In an effort to save Megumi, he allows Sukuna to possess him, allows Sukuna to possess Gojo, so that everybody who is said to possess, to surpass Gojo, all bands together to beat Sukuna and kill him within his own body, right? Like to finish off Sukuna by killing himself.
That would be out there.
But that wouldn't happen, right?
I think it's unlikely. I think it tracks, but I'm also like, I don't know about that one.
Maybe he'll create like a binding vow with Sukuna, like, I'll allow you to have my body, but you have to kill Megumi, and you need to, and you can't kill them directly or something like that. You know what I mean?
feel like Sukuna wouldn't take it.
That'd be too easy.
I think Sukuna's done with binding vows with his enemies.
Well, anyway,
you're right. So, as Sukuna is nomming on his mummified body, we see that Geto is just like on the highway somewhere with a single old style TV and a game system connected to it,
and a couch.
I think that's literally the calling game. I think that's the physical manifestation of it.
Oh, I guess that is a map inside there.
Yeah, there's a game console. That makes me think that it's like, oh, is that just the calling game?
like Greed Island?
Yeah, it's a Greed Island. So Kogane reveals that after 19 days, 61 players who have not entered the culling game died from curse technique removal. And Kenjaku asks, did they fear being killed? And he's like, no, I doubt their real reasons were so instinctual, because, I guess the that Higurama added allowed them to avoid both, I guess. I'm not really sure about what they really mean by that.
Yeah, I actually didn't understand that too much either.
Yeah,
Isn't Higurama
Higurama's the lawyer.
the lawyer, right? But he created a rule.
Yeah. You remember when Itadori first fought him, and they asked him to create a rule with his 100 points.
Oh, that that you could survive by transferring points or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was the point rule where you can survive by transferring points, but that still doesn't deal with the fact that like players had to enter in order to
Yeah.
not die. So I think they're referring to those players specifically.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I guess they're basically saying that like people a lot of potential sorcerers died, um, and the people of this country believe that their reality is stable, even though the lives are always on the brink of ruin. Um, so I feel like they didn't have the motivation to really like even try to fight for their lives, is what they're saying here. Um, and because they didn't really have a hope of a future because the world's so fucked up. Um, so yeah, that was a bit of a confusing conversation, I guess, in a sense, but uh we cut back over to Gojo, and he is with the healer lady, and the weird his driver friend Ichichi, sorry. Um and this is where they actually tell him about Nanami, because he by the time Nanami died, he was inside the box already, so he didn't know Nanami died. Um So, Ichichi apologizes, and he's like, "Why do you got to be sorry for?" He's like, "Oh, I thought you were implied that why did he die and not me?" Um, yeah, and he tells them it's like, "Hey, you guys still have a big job to do. Stay sharp." And then Ino walks in, and he has something to say about Nanami. He removes
Who?
his. He's one of the sorcerers from Shibuya. Uh, I forget his technique exactly, but it was like,
The blood art one?
hmm?
No, that's not the blood art kid.
No, I don't remember. If you want to look it up,
What's his
Brian, but
name?
Eno. I don't remember I remember his fight because I read Shibuya fairly recently, but
Oh, I remember
he's
this
the hat guy.
guy.
He's like the mask.
Yeah, I remember this guy. Yeah. Let me see what his
He was
character
like
name is.
Nanami's student, basically. Like
Mm.
before Itadori, he was like Itadori's senior.
Auspicious Beast Summon.
Yeah, he had this other thing with like,
He has like spiral like horns, and he could fire horns.
yeah, but he has to have his face covered, which is why he wears that mask, I think.
His face is covered in some of these panels.
Yeah, like part of the conditions of his technique is that his face has to be covered. It's kind of cool. His fight was dope in the Shibuya arc. But anyway, we cut back over to Mei Mei, who is watching Itadori train, I guess, and it's revealing that she is setting up basically a betting, to see between like the battle. She's like setting up odds between Sukuna versus Gojo. And a bunch of people are betting on it. So, she's making money, which is good for Mei Mei. Meanwhile, Itadori is training with I think the vice principal, I think this guy's supposed to be. He's also one of the guys from Shibuya who does like the new shadow art style.
Yeah, isn't that the
Mhm.
sword dude?
Mm-hmm. It is the sword dude. And he's I guess like this is a page that kind of confused me because I'm not sure exactly who's saying what in this moment. Because he
I
says
think
like,
Itadori's talking to himself.
oh, okay, yeah, because I guess I was confused as to why, because he was like mastered Itadori, and the other guy responds by going Osu.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel
that's
like
an
this was a
interesting
pretty
panel.
weird paneling. Yeah.
Is it that like I don't know? Yeah, I'm so confused.
I think Itadori's saying. Wait, is he saying?
That's what I'm confused for because the panel, like the
I
word
don't think
bubbles,
Itadori's saying anything aside from that's enough for warming up.
and he's like mastered already Itadori, and but the other guy looks like he's responding. He's saying Osu, unless it's like Mei saying it.
Maybe.
I gave up.
Yeah, I guess
Because
like
even like the speech bubble above that says that's enough for warming up. Like the panel's not going to. Wait, who is that? Who is
Itadori.
that behind him? That's Itadori
Mm-hmm.
behind him
What are you talking about?
when he's on his ass.
That's not Itadori on his ass. That's
No, the guy behind him.
That's Itadori.
So it looks like the speech bubble is going to Itadori.
Yeah, I guess it is confusing.
So is Itadori saying that's enough for warming up?
It looks like it.
Yeah. Itadori's saying that, and I think the guy is saying that. I think he's saying Osu to his own words. Like, damn, you've mastered it already? Osu.
No,
Like,
he
you
didn't
know,
master it
like-
yet.
Because he's saying mastered already.
All right, so let's just assume that Itadori didn't say this.
Yeah. Hold on.
Let's just assume that this guy is the one who said that.
I think they're implying that like Itadori has switched places, like switched bodies with this guy.
Huh?
Because I look.
Wait.
Oh, what does her curse technique do?
I don't know if it's switching bodies. I think it's something different, but yeah. Wait. Some Japanese player made some wild spec switching with Gojo. Yeah, I'm so confused. Because I think he switched bodies with the guy.
Wait. That is, if that's true.
For what reason?
Maybe that could be a way for him to kind of hijack Megumi out. Maybe he could, like, I don't know, get into Megumi's body and fight Sukuna from within.
He did trade bodies.
How do you know that?
I'm like looking on Reddit right now just to literally see if that's like a thing and see what other people think. Because I just like
Has Megumi ever has Itadori ever said Osu?
That guy. Maybe it's that guy's curse technique. I think he switched bodies with this guy. I think he switched like this guy's technique because we don't know his like curse technique. It could be switching bodies. Because this is definitely Itadori like referring to himself, looking down. He looks pretty confident, and it's this guy who responds as Osu, which is like, you know, if you remember Hunter x Hunter, that kid that goes Osu in Heaven's Arena.
Wait, what the fuck?
It's definitely not clear and very Jujutsu Kaisen of them to do this.
But why? But why swap bodies?
I think that's going to be explained later, probably.
I don't think it's gonna be explained anytime soon.
Well, I hope it is.
That's the sad part.
Anyway, moving forward. Sorry for that confusion.
What the fuck, dude? Wait, what?
Sorry for that confusion.
You Christian, you son of a bitch! You don't get to just do that.
We have to. We have to just do that.
You don't get to just do that, Christian. You fucking asshole. You make us sit here and look at this page, and then you just drop that on us, and then you're just like, weird. Okay. Anyway.
I mean, there's nothing I could do. I just wanted a confirmation. It's like, did he switch bodies?
It's very weird. It's very weird.
Yeah, I guess I'm just like kind of used to this at this point because there's Akutami, for better for worse, does this a lot, where he's sometimes not very clear about certain things, and he doesn't really bother to
What's the
explain
name
certain
of the
things.
fucking sword guy? Do you know?
I don't know his. I don't remember his name. But
All
anyway,
right, you keep going.
all right. Well, there's a little scene between Okotsu and Inumaki, which was nice. Basically saying that, like, basically explaining is just like, well, it should be fine. It was proven that Sukuna did what he did to you, so he should be in the clear as far as you're concerned. So they're not going to really retaliate against him for the thing that Sukuna did to your body. So it's all good. And then we cut immediately over to December 24th, which is literally the day of the final battle. So that's surprising. I thought we were going to get a whole mini training arc at least, but nope. Akutami is just like, let's get into it. Let's go. And basically, Kenjaku is like, well, while you're fighting Gojo, I'll pick off Culling Game players, and until today, if I had left Sukuna aside, Gojo would have killed me. So, but they're going to be having your hands full with you two, and it leaves me free to do whatever I want. So, later. And then we cut back to the good guys, and everybody's just in a circle before game time, huddling up and just like trying to figure out what to say at this point, because they are going into a very precarious situation because the King of Curses is out there and he's a monster and a half. So, and their only hope is Gojo. So basically they're like, I mean, there's nothing really to worry about. Gojo's always won before. So at that moment, Gojo comes in. He's got a cloak on. He's ready for battle. The other principal, the Rockstar principal that killed the Yaguchi, which is, I think his name is Yaguchi, the main principal guy. He's just
Yeah, I
there
think
chilling,
so.
like he's cool or something. Like I forgave him for what he did. Masamichi, I think his name is. But yeah,
Yeah, Masamichi.
yeah, because I just remembered Masamichi gang better ride. And so, he looks pretty intense. And Itadori is like, Sensei, your curse technique's in the way. And then Gojo snaps out of his intensity and he flops off his cape. He's like, give it to me. And they all give him a good slap on the back to motivate him in a cool Hajime no Ippo-esque moment. They did this to Takamura and Ippo as well. That was pretty cool. Everybody's like, let's go. Ace.
Ace.
Ace. So, everybody's cheering him on, and he's like, yeah, I got this. And the next panel is Sukuna looking evil, as usual. And that's where the chapter ends. Oh my god. We spent probably a little bit too much time on this chapter, to be fair. But still, a lot went down. Very excited for this. Josh, what did you think about Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 222? Josh?
Are you muted by chance?
Well, Brian, do you want to go first then?
Oh, I
Sure.
was muted. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh,
There you go.
I was muted on the phone, but not muted on Discord. Weird. Anyway, what I was saying was I was startled by this chapter because of how fast everything is moving. And that Gigi he does this so often where he dedicates an entire chapter as like an actual setup. Like this is like a fucking trailer or something like that. Like it's almost advertisement for the next chapter in a way, because we went straight from Gojo being within the clutches of Sukuna and Kenjaku, and we don't know how he got up out of there. I'm gonna assume he just left because they couldn't stop him. But it's weird. We just jumped, and like Chris said, there was no training arc or anything like that. There was no like time to kind of like you know marinate with the fact that Gojo came back. It's all so sudden, and it's giving me the vibe that he's about to get smoked. I think Brian's right. I think Sakuna is gonna kill our guy, man, and he's
Dang.
gonna have a moment of weakness, and he's gonna rip his fucking eyes out. It's gonna be crazy.
Oh my god.
I really think he's gonna do that. Release Megumi for like a split second and then retake control again, kind of thing.
Imagine Gojo just punches him right in
That's
the fucking
exactly
face,
what I
but he
was
does that
thinking.
anyway.
That's what exactly what I was thinking. Is like, what if Gojo just smacks the shit out of him regardless?
Anyway, he's like, well, sorry, Megumi, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then that's too damn bad.
That's too damn bad.
That's the extent of my thoughts, honestly. Brian, anything stick out to you?
Yeah, I think it's fair if we're gonna get on My Hero Academia for rushing, then we can get on Jujutsu Kaisen for it.
I did.
Like that's an insane amount of pace right now. Like this is way faster than My Hero was, if we're being 100% honest. Like they jumped from Gojo being released to final arc within one chapter. That's actually crazy. How much time did they skip? Like a month? 2 months?
A month.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, probably closer to a couple weeks because it was already the end of November when like when they set the date. So it probably would have been like 3 weeks.
We didn't even get
I thought
a
it was.
point. We didn't even get a time where Gojo just sat down with the team and just talked to them. Like we didn't get to see them reunite. We just saw them like leaving. Like it's kind of like I like this chapter, don't get me wrong, but like that's all sad. It made me feel sad because it's like, Gege is looking to, end the series, of course. Like they want the series to wrap up sometime this year actually. And it feels like, why the rush? Why the hassle? I guess they want to get onto another series or like maybe do something else, but I don't know. You got a good thing going. Like, finish it on your own terms, not like fucking zoom in like because you feel like you have to meet a deadline or like a requirement. Like, this don't feel right. I like the series. This is still a good chapter regardless of the fucking like rush, but goddamn. Give Jujutsu Kaisen some more respect. But that's all. That's all I got.
This was my really good chapter of the week. I'll say that. I think I decided.
Certified RGC. Certified RGC. Certified RGC.
What did the audience say?
The audience. This was tied with One Piece for the really good chapter of the week. So, if you guys want to vote for your favorite series and avoid ties, we subscribe to the YouTube channel. I put up the poll every week, and you guys vote on your favorite chapter. But between Jujutsu Kaisen and One Piece, they are tied at 50% each. So, kudos to both.
Certified RGC. Certified RGC. Certified RGC.
I'm gonna wait a little bit before I say that Jujutsu Kaisen is exactly being rushed. I feel like a lot of information is being left out purposefully. In regards to everybody's training, especially since, the stuff with Itadori is so vague that I can't imagine that Akutami is not going to expound upon it later. because I have no earthly idea what he could be mastering. So I don't think there's. I feel like the skip was more to create a shroud of mystery. Um, it is like maybe it is a little disappointing that we don't get the a training arc outright, but I feel like that might be explained a little better in flashbacks and whatnot like that. So I'm gonna give it a little time before I say that it's a rush. Um, Jujutsu Kaisen, like My Hero Academia, I feel like they were both on similar timing where they were like, we both wanted to make relatively short series, comparative to like the traditional long running series that are like 500, 700 chapters, you know?
Mhm.
So I think like they have that mindset. I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen has like some pacing issues itself. I think it always has to a degree. It's not as noticeable as My Hero Academia because I feel like My Hero Academia had a bigger world, has a bigger world than Jujutsu Kaisen does, and I feel a lot more has been skated by on My Hero Academia's terms than Jujutsu Kaisen, just because Jujutsu Kaisen's world is so small. Um,
Mhm.
but I still think that there's still a lot Akutami probably intends to go into. We don't know Kenjaku's backstory. We don't know Sukuna's backstory really. I think there's more to Sukuna that meets the eye, and I think we're gonna see a lot of that. Uh, yeah, the jump is startling to me too. Don't get me wrong. I'm just like giving a little bit of uh leeway to Jujutsu Kaisen to just see where it's going, and if it all of a sudden seems like it's accelerating too much, then I'll definitely like be on that side where like, all right, you're going a little too quick. But it's not like there's like a big group of villains. There's really 3 antagonists left. So uh
Yeah.
and one of them is very weak comparative to the other two. Um I will say that Kenjaku has his own battles. I feel like he's going to go up against Higuruma because he's going off killing Culling game players. And I can't help but think that he's going to go up against Higuruma at some point.
Hmm.
Uh,
That would be really I'd love that.
yeah, I think that there's still a lot of possibility for what's going on here. There's still a lot of battle that needs to go down. We don't know what the other supporting characters are exactly going to do. So, you know, I that's why I'm like kind of pumping the brakes. I understand the idea that it is rough because I also got whiplash from the sudden time jump. And I was like, whoa. But this is like the second time that Jujutsu Kaisen has like exceeded or not exceeded, but like has betrayed my expectations of how long something will take.
Mhm.
Because I remember back then, like before Gojo was released, it's like, I wonder if they're going to have to do something special to get Gojo out. And not really. The answer was no. Um, so it's I don't know. I'm in wait and see mode with Jujutsu right now because we are in the final arc, and I think Akutami has made that clear. I think he does want to end it, and I'd rather series. I feel like this is Akutami ending it on his own terms, as opposed to just kind of like prolonging it just for the fuck of it. Because I feel like that's a track record that hasn't very well been successful. Series going longer than they really should.
Mhm.
So I'm all for the idea of authors if they feel like they're kind of like, I'm getting close to the end of my rope here and I just want to finish. Not to like accelerate plans and jump right into it, but if you're feeling the end is near, then please go for it. I mean, I'd rather it end like this on a peak note than become Bleach. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not saying draw out the series, but like,
yeah, I know. I'm gonna
flesh
say
it out.
this. I
I
would I
understand, like you were saying, draw out the series.
I would say that it's not close to over. I feel like there's still a lot to go. Just because Just
I
because,
don't know
like,
if he's trying to end the series by the end of the year.
I feel like a lot of authors say that because people ask the question, and I don't think there's certain terms for how long a story will take to finish. I think they have their estimations. Their Akutami to just have an answer for the question is like, in theory, the amount of story I have left in my brain right now is the rest of this year, but it could be more or less depending on how like the chapters naturally pace out as I'm drawing them, you know? I never take these as like exact measurements of time they really have. It's just like the benchmark is like this year, but I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if it went into next year. Cuz we're already at summer. I feel like there's still a lot to go with this and a little bit with My Hero as well. I wouldn't be surprised if both of these series kind of reach to early 2024. But I also wouldn't
About a year ago, I would have been astounded from both answers that Jujutsu would be ended anytime soon, and that My Hero would still be running.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't really like take those estimations to heart just cuz people are always asking that, It's like, when do you think your series is going to end? It's like, I don't know, man. A year, 5 years? They haven't drawn it yet. So I feel like when you draw a series, when you're like doing layouts and your panels and what you want to emphasize and how much space each moment takes on a page has a drastic impact on how long your story really goes for. It's hard to tell. But I'm excited overall. I think we're going to get some pretty dope fights. There's going to be fight central from here on out.
Yeah, beat down city.
Yeah, it's gonna take.
Oh, so we taking votes on who's gonna win. I'm
Sure.
voting. I'm voting. Sukuna. Don't know his last name.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess like the safe bet would be Sukuna. But I think like Akutami could be a maverick sometimes. So
I'm holding on hope that Sukuna possesses Gojo.
I think it's a interesting story twist that Gojo beats Sukuna here and now, although I don't know how likely that really is.
I think it'll be more like Gege to have everybody team up to fight Gojo instead.
Maybe. That's entirely possible. Yeah, I think for me, just because like Gojo has been such a beast, and he's
I mean, if you think about it, Gojo and Sukuna are the strongest of their generations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're basically the same person, right?
Maybe. I mean, we don't know. We don't know the full extent of either of their abilities to really make a strong claim one or another, which one who's going to win. And it's debatable. Like I guess you could say that Sukuna is the main antagonist, but Kenjaku is like the mover and the shaker here.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be about combat with him. So,
but there's also like Sukuna seems to have his own little thing going that's a little subtler. And he may not have the same goal as Kenjaku, but he has something going on, I think.
Maybe Okotsu is going after Kenjaku. Or maybe Itadori. I don't know. Somebody.
Yeah, either way. I mean,
you can't just go ignored.
yeah. I actually meant to talk about that real quick because I think that's going to be the biggest result out of this contest between what happens with Kenjaku and with Getso and Sukuna. I think it's going to be what Kenjaku does in the meantime while everyone's distracted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what the other characters are going to be doing, though. I feel like everybody else is going after Kenjaku, and they're putting all their faith on Gojo to take care of Sukuna.
I think Gojo's going to win the fight.
That would be.
I think Sukuna's going to ultimately win, though.
Yeah, I I can't say one way or another. Jujutsu Kaisen has a tendency to subvert expectations. So who knows, really? But yeah, I mean, that's all I really got to say about Jujutsu Kaisen. Does anybody have any rebuttals? Anything?
Nope.
All right. Well, that being said, let us move forward.
Fi meg pick ned i det kjøret med som jeg kan chat.
Undead Unluck. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Josh.
Thanks, Chris. I'm waiting for my phone to load up the chapter.
Okay.
I neglected to before, but we can talk about what happened last week on Undead Unluck.
Yes.
The team got to understand Phil and his tragic space experience a little bit better. His mom put him in a robot body when he was young because he got sick, instead of taking him to an Earth hospital because he was on a space station born. So he's in that predicament, but their ship was attacked by creatures. So they're not sure if it's Umas, aliens, or just technology, maybe from another country. Who knows? From that country. Anyway, are we finished loading up yet? I damn.
Yeah, you tell me.
Okay, so anyway, chapter 158. Well, we start where the last chapter ended, where they got into a conflict with the creatures in that I just mentioned before that's attacking the ship. And they Phil helped them understand that the only way to beat them is by like kind of destroying them from inside. They're like that's where they're most vulnerable. And like, you can't really kill them with conventional means. Like you have Fuko shooting and Undercrease are just unloading on these guys, and all it's doing is kind of holding them back. So they're doing that, and they're trying to make it to the elevator so they can exit and head down to where Phil's mom is being held down. And right as they get into the elevator, you see one of these creatures get slammed into the door and get sliced in half, which is actually really impressive of the door's technology. I guess it is supposed to be an airtight seal, but it sliced right through him.
Yeah.
So that was rather incredible. The crazy thing is, after it got chopped, it still was moving towards Phil, but it died in midair on its way to him. Keep that for note, guys. Fuko and the team are still trying to come to grips with what they just fought, and with how they're gonna deal with them in the future without Phil having to sacrifice his robot body. They also come to terms that it's not a Uma, because Umas disappear and the little things that they leave around just dissipate. So it's most likely an alien species. Very creepy.
Yeah.
Very sci-fi horror-ish. I don't like that they're bugs. I mentioned that last week. I'm gonna say it again.
Yeah. It's too
Not a fan. Not a fan. So they come to the resolution. We're gonna keep our eye out for weak points and stay on top of shit. All right, cool. While they're having this conversation, Phil kind of approaches Unseen, and he's like, "So, like, what's sad?" Which is what a crazy thing to ask.
What is sad?
What is sad? Like, damn, bro, do you know what happy is?
Probably not.
But yeah, right. If you don't know what sad is, I guess. But he actually takes this moment to kind of be a big brother in a sense, and he opens up to him. He's like, "Well, I remember I was sad when my father died, And Phil's like, well, why was that sad? He said, why was it? Because I wouldn't be able to see him anymore. And the thought of that, is what makes me sad. It feels like I see. He go boop boop beep boop bop in his head, makes some calculations, and then
Beep beep
says,
beep
"I
beep
see."
boop. Does not compute.
Yeah. And then it says, "I see." Foop. And then oh, they kind of make a revelation here because I didn't actually know this, but Nico starts talking about how, like, asking, like, has his negation manifested yet? His unfeel, and Fuko was like, no, to my surprise. And she says it's because he could talk. So because he could talk, that means he doesn't have unfeel. I'm just gonna roll with that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna roll with that one. Anyway, and so it's we have to. I guess they're gonna get to that moment. It's so tragic, man. He's not even gonna be able to communicate. It's gonna be like until.
Yeah, basically.
Right. Um. So they finally make after the elevator gets down to the floor they need to go, and they get to the room where Phil's mom is being holed up, and there's all these bugs just swarming on the fucking on the unit, and it's, oh god, it's disgusting. It's like when you're outside. And if you have to move a garbage can or something, and you see a swarm of bugs.
Yeah,
Gross.
literally your worst nightmare. You know what they look
Yeah.
like? They look like one of the neighbor monsters from World Trigger.
Yeah, look like one of those guys too. That's what you was trying to think about last week.
Yeah.
I'm glad you found it. And you're right. It looks just like the big ones.
Yeah. I know they have a name. I just don't remember what it is. This is a long time since we've seen one of them.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Big neighbors. Anyway, um, unseen screams because it looks disgusting and scary, which is I probably would have had a reaction myself. Uh, they're trying to figure out how the hell they're gonna get through this. So then they start hearing, I guess from a radio. Yeah, they hear from a radio signal the mom calling out for Phil, like, is my child safe? Is he okay? Like, where's he at? And they're like, yeah, he's good. Yelling, like breaking the rule he just fucking told Unseen not to do. And mom was like, yo, y'all gotta take my son and get up out of here. It's too late. These bugs is gonna eat us. And as she's like letting them know that, the bugs start reacting like really aggressively, and they don't, the team doesn't understand why. So Nico tells them all to remain calm. And he's like, maybe that was what they just reacted to. The mom is apologizing to Phil, and she's like, I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry for keeping you locked up in the in the space station. I'm sorry for not bringing you to Earth when you caught the common cold and putting you inside a robot body instead. I dropped the ball there.
Yeah,
That was
that was my bad.
a poor decision.
Yeah.
And I am very sorry for shoving you into that cold body.
Yeah, that
I
was
don't even
wild of
know.
me. Frankly, I don't
She's
know
like,
what
I
I
don't
was
even
thinking.
know if you have a heart or even feelings. And it's like, well, I think you do know because you created that body. In human bodies, we can maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some spiritual aspect to it, but you made a robot body, so you should know. You're a bad mom.
You're a bad mom.
You're leading on a scale of 1 to 10. You're like a 4 right now, or a 3.5.
I would say I would keep it at 4 because at least she saved him from the common cold by shoving him into a robot body.
We can't stress the point enough that
That's 4. That's 4
that was
material.
most likely the reaction it had. So, so, so Phil was like, "Mom, before you could tell he's not a failure or whatever, the team pulls up to the pod and they start kicking ass. And then I was like, please, like, stop, forget about me, just get up out of here. And Nico says some badass shit. He says, I'll be damned if I'm going to use his mother's death to teach him the meaning of sadness. Because he overheard that little conversation earlier.
Yeah.
Talking about he doesn't know what sad is. He doesn't even have unfeel yet. That's not right. He should know. That doesn't matter. So it's not going to be like this. And as he's screaming and having this reaction, one of the neighbor bugs pull up, and he realizes that, oh, I'm being targeted, like, outright, like, for why? And he starts to have an idea of why that may be. And then Phil comes in and saves him, and then does what he loves to do most so far in the second half of the series, which is to sacrifice his robot body.
That's his favorite hobby right now.
Very morbid, but he loves it.
I like Smash Brothers and sacrificing my robot body.
Yes. He'd love being a training dummy. Just go ahead. Pin your combos on me. So, Phil, yeah, so that's funny. Phil takes over like one of the spears and uses it to get around. And then he actually, and he goes like, "Are you trying to die?" And he was like, "I mean, I'm just trying to save mom. That's all I know." And Fuko comes in, shoots a fucking bad bullet at one of these creatures. And he was like, "All right, if you're sad, like imagine your mom losing you, how sad you would be. The same usual, like, think about it, your life matters." I love it. Good stuff. So basically, Nico comes to the realization that they're reacting to emotional responses, and the fact that the bugs are chasing the mom and the robot Phil the most is that he, aside from his mom, Phil has one of the strongest emotional activity going on in his brain, feeling stronger than anyone. So he's worthy of saving, confirmed. And mom, you need to relax because the bugs are gonna eat you. And that's the end of the chapter. I want to tell y'all this right now. I liked it. I liked the chapter. It was a lot. It's they could kind of labor the point about caring and stuff, but it's not a bad message, so I'm not gonna be angry about it. But it was nice. I actually really liked how they confirmed that he did have feelings because the creatures was coming after him. I like that a lot. That was a sweet way to confirm that he's more than just a robot.
Yeah.
He is not 100%.
Yeah, he is definitely not 100% robot. I thought it was like a sweet moment that them having history with Phil being the unfeel negator, them just seeing him as he is now, they're just like, I don't does he already have it? And it's really just he has the emotions, he just doesn't really know how to express them, or he doesn't identify them really. He knows that like the synapses are firing in his brain, but he really just doesn't understand or can't like quantify it really. So
I guess the same way a regular child doesn't understand it, and you have to explain to them what their feelings are. So that's normal.
yeah, especially when I guess you do a body transfer of this magnitude, it's probably not going to be the same where there's like a physical response to your emotions, where it's all happening in the brain as opposed to you being able to, I guess, the involuntary things like frowning and crying, stuff like that is kind of like closed off. It like if it's that physical embodiment of emotion is, I think, what the robot body takes away from Phil as opposed to him really feeling things.
Mm.
So I think like that's what really like threw everybody off at first. It's just he can't express the emotion, but he's definitely having them. But yeah. Were those all your thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, that was the most. That was the biggest thought I had.
Yeah. I agree. I thought it was like a sweet little chapter, to be honest. I love Nico taking like kind of the big brother role. I think it's very endearing.
Mm.
You know, that's such a great line. Is I'll be damned if I'm going to use a mother's death to teach him the meaning of sadness.
Right.
You know, he's right. There are better examples.
Yeah, we don't need this.
Yeah, like not
if it can be helped.
Yeah, like not having ice cream when you want it. That's sad. It's a way easier way to teach him the meaning of sadness. Stuff like that, more harmless examples of emotions as opposed to the sacrifice of his mom when they can still save her. So yeah, Nico's been kind of cool to watch, just kind of like cuz he is like this underneath all the logic and science, he is this little bleeding heart in a sense. He does care greatly about folks. But yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. I thought it was a nice chapter overall. Any rebuttals or anything, Josh?
Nope.
Alrighty then. Well, that was Undead Unluck then. And that has been our show. Whoa. Thank you guys so much for listening. As per usual, you can find me at the Chris Hospital on Twitter and Instagram, Josh at JDCole_37 on Instagram, at New Jump City Josh on Twitter. Brian is at b.esp on Twitter and Instagram. And check him out when he's streaming at twitch.tv/It's Punchline. Email the show itself at New Jump City on Twitter and Instagram. Please do so. That would be super cool. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave a comment if you prefer to do that instead of emailing. Let us know what you think of the show. I know we're not fully operational on a video, on video terms quite yet, but we would still appreciate the support and you checking us out and all that stuff. So please subscribe to our YouTube, like, share, all that stuff. Or if you prefer audio podcasts and you just want to take us on the go, you don't have like that YouTube premium thing where you can listen offline, no problem. We're pretty much everywhere you listen to podcasts. iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Amazon Music. You pick a platform, we're probably on there. And that's it, I think. At New Jump City on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. I think I mentioned that. But yeah,
ain't nothing wrong with a double plug.
What? Oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with a double plug. But yeah, that's been our show. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you guys next week. Stay safe, New Jump citizens.
Peace out, yeah.
Bogard.
That's his name, not Bellamy. Brogard. With an R? B-R?
Bogard.
Bogard. How y'all spell it?
Bogard.
Bogard. He will be lit. He is going to be a lit character.
He will be lit.
He will be lit.